we go. Okay, hello and welcome to Movie Crap Live. I hope this is going through. We gotta wait for an ad. All those things while the music plays. If you're watching this later, you're like, what's he hanging out for? Well, I just gotta wait for this Lush Minecraft soap? It's weird. And another ad. And Super Dusky sent me a weird thing. Sinram is there? Can we wait? Oh my! Okay, can hear the music and you. Okay. Let's. Is music still going? I can't hear the music unless it's. Should I have it go twice? I'm gonna have it go twice while I say people's names. Let's do it twice today. Twice is nice. I hope people like the song. Okay, first off, Super Dusky with whatever that emoji is. Nathaniel Foga or hello, Super Dusky. Nathaniel Foga. Sinram. Cornbread, I have sent out the tweet. Wandon Natty, Cornbread again, why not? Javier Portello, Purple Goop. I have cameras in my bathroom. That is a interesting screen name. Ramsey the Artist. Oh, it's a bad thing? Oh, anyway. Hello and welcome to Movie Crap Live. Sorry, things are running a little behind schedule, so I apologize for everything. Hello, Dan. How's it going? Hello, Pup. Hello, George. Hello, Eddie Catboy. Don't know if I met you before, but thank you for being here. Let me switch over. We are in. Hey, hot out of the kitchen. Hot in the kitchen. Whatever. Anyway, it's kind of like a Dutch angle. It was kind of a rush to get everything. Oh, not that far. Maybe no. Okay, I think we're good. Sorry, that was probably not a fun way to start anything. Hello, Lauren Jones. How's it going? It has been a long time. Well, I'm glad you had the night off work. How's it going? Oh, I like that little emoji, Dan. All right. So yes, we are back again with another episode of Movie Crap Live. I think it's going to be a sort of looser one because there is news, but there's not as much news. That's why the segments tonight are going to be the best movies of the year so far. And then I did compile, and I want to. It's a weird kitchen view. I hope it's not. Maybe it should have been the other way. Maybe I regret the blue kind of. Oh, it's me. Maybe I should move over. No, wait, I went the wrong way. If I go over. Whatever. Okay. No, now I don't. Okay. So I'm doing this too thing because people were like, I saw in the chat, everyone was like, people were like, we kind of missed the top tens, and there's a lot of reasons there weren't top tens. One, COVID. Two, I had a second kid, so that's why 2021, 22, 23, I would miss a movie, and then it would take me forever to get there, and all that stuff. So thus why it became that way. So I actually did write down a lot of them. So I went and found those notes. I went over what were considered the best movies of the year. I went over my own reviews. I tried to make a list of how I felt about it. So they're looser, but I wanted to catch up in some way and let you know. So if you want to write down movies that I think are really good and that you should check out, tonight is the night, and there will be two separate videos, one of those and then that. But Sinram has given us the first super chat of the night. Gotta give a heart out to that. Says Universal is now mine. Did Universal? Wait, what? Something happened to Universal and I missed it while life was going on? Is Universal over? I don't understand what's going on. But Sinram has Universal. Doesn't matter. I'm confused. But the energy drink, Cornbread didn't get this right. I got NOS energy drink. That's why I said Fast and Furious. But I said Vin Diesel because he has NOS in his thing. The minions are no more. I favor the trolls. Cineram, no. I'm not that upset because I don't like either, but I feel like no. Oh, I did say that? Okay. Congrats. No, I totally remember that. That's the thing I remember. Don't worry about it. It's the thing. So I did like that's a good bit, Sidro. Cheers to you. Okay. I drank this once when I edited the Fast and Furious 7 review, maybe? Anyway, cheers to you all. Interesting. I mainly got it because I realized I've never really had that on here, so I thought, well, so at the store and I was just looking, I was like, is there anything different? Energy drink wise, and I just said, you know what, we've never done that one. So I agree, Dan. Now that I'm watching more Walter Lanza, Woody Woodpecker, I almost did a review of The Barber of Seville, which I'm, which I think I'll do a review of eventually, but I kind of just wanted to go with, yeah, who's Red Smack? Who is that? Red Smack? I don't know who that is. I can't check that out right now because I'm like, I'm doing this thing right now. By the way, do people? I don't watch a ton of streams, despite doing this. I like watch the movie ones, but are streamers like late a lot? Is that just like a me thing? I was wondering that. Is that like a common thing? Are people like used to that? I don't know. Just I'm curious. You can yeah. Oh, I'm sorry your keyboard's messed up, Zodberg. That sucks. And hello, welcome to the show. Other than that, okay, actual things that happened since last week. I think I mentioned, well, my wife and I watched The Truman Show, and I was like, man, I haven't watched it in a long time, actually, and that is a really good movie. Like, it is, I was kind of shocked at how good that was. Not that I didn't think it was good, but it's like when you re-experience something after a long time, you're like, wow, that was like really good. And it's interesting it happened right before reality TV because it's like it probably would have been a very different movie. And it's like kind of got to, like if it had come out like 2 years later. Most streamers are? Okay. Well, that makes me feel bad. Thank you, Chan Talks More Movie. I will check out Red Smack later, whoever that is. I don't know. Whoever that woman is. But yeah, Truman Show, great movie. Well, the one thing I really think is interesting about Jim Carrey is he had such an insane 90s peak, and I was like sort of sick of him because all the critics were against him. But he mentions this, and I saw this happen, and I will 100% point it out because he is right. And I've heard people say that's not true. When Jim Carrey says Siskel and Ebert shit on him all the time, and critics really did. Even The Critic does it towards the end of its run. Like, people really shit on him. And then they did make an apology show, which I gotta say, which I watched. I watched them go, no, he's actually pretty smart, and there's more going on here, and we were wrong. But I think what happened in 94 with him is like that rise of like, it was like Ace Ventura, Dumb and Dumber, and The Mask all in 1 year. All in like the first, 7-8 months of the year, and then he was the biggest movie star in the world. Like, that's an insane rise, and I don't think anyone knew what to do with that, to be honest with you. So, but he is so good, and he's not doing Jim Carrey. Like, I'm still like, how he didn't win Best Actor for that. Like, didn't Roberto Benigni win? And like, Roberto Benigni's good, but like, they didn't even nominate it? I don't know. I still think that's bullshit. I don't know. If it was up to me, he would have been nominated 3 times for that, Man on the Moon, and Eternal Sunshine. I think he should have gotten at least nominated. I would have given it to him for Truman Show, to be honest. I don't know. I sometimes think the Oscars don't think about the legacy of Hollywood that they're into, and like it would have been, I think, good. But whatever. Yeah. And Liar Liar, he does a really good performance. I've heard people proclaim that. He was really like firing on all cylinders. Even if like Man on the Moon's not a great movie, but he was good in it. I gotta give him that. All right. Sorry. That's my Jim Carrey. And I watched. I'm working on some Crow stuff because The Crow was sort of a big movie for me. So as a kid, so I am doing 94 Crow. I'm gonna see the new one. And here's my Crow trivia. And I'm gonna. I've noticed nobody thinks this is interesting, but I think this is interesting. And it's going to come up in the things I make about The Crow. There's going to be actors who were almost The Crow in the review, and those are shot, and the new one and stuff. But here is an interesting factoid. So Austin, whoa, coming out of nowhere. I was like, oh, Austin's not here. I was a little like, it was like, well, Austin, my boy. So will Chick-fil-A streaming service work on Sunday? You know what? I gotta give you credit because you said that like you've seen that joke a million times. I did not make that joke. 'Cause although I saw who is it who was on the show like Joe, one of the movie reviews. I saw him do it first, so I'll give him credit. I saw a lot of other critics do it like hours later, but he did it first, right when it broke. So I commend him. So, but cheers to you, Austin. Thank you for the super chat. I'll retweet him because he deserves it. Actually, now I'm thinking about it. Okay, so in The Crow, when they made the Crow movie, Brandon Lee died. Don't know if you knew that, but sorry. Obviously, Brandon Lee, passed away because of a tragic accident, and then they had stunt doubles replace him and do certain shots, and he's all in shadow. A couple of people think Trent Reznor was one of those. I could never find that to be real, but one of them we know was Chad Stahelski, who went on to direct the John Wick movies. What's interesting about that, to me, who are you playing as, Austin? I want to know. What's interesting to me is that The New Crow is considered a ripoff of John Wick, which is directed by Chad Stahelski. And Chad Stahelski, I believe, wasn't even credited when The Crow was originally released or something. So it's like he's kind of like this interesting auteur of those two Crow movies, but he's not really that creatively involved. It's like kind of interesting. But like from the guy who played Brandon Lee stunt double to a major influence on The Crow. So he's like kind of like a behind the scenes major influence in a way. I don't know. I find that to be kind of fascinating. It's like odd like how he's a figure in this franchise, but he never directed one. I think he would direct a good one, but I'm sure he doesn't want to because Brandon Lee was his friend, and I've heard almost everyone who worked on the original ones nothing to do with the other ones. And you know what? I don't disagree with that. You should. I 100% agree. Also, have you seen the Mario song? It's like, please no Mario, do. Like, have you guys heard that? Because like that is a very catchy song, and I like the song, but the kind of like extreme anti-feminist message of it is like, I don't know, that and like Del the Funky Homo Sapien, like some of his stuff. It's like he'll get like really extreme, like not I can't think of the word. Sorry. Just like very anti-women in his stuff, and it's like I can't listen to a lot of his stuff because it's just like, dude, like I like your beats and how you rhyme, but then when you get into like this like really moralistic bullshit, it like really, and I don't like that. But that Mario song is like very catchy, and even though I'm like, this is really stupid, and I hate when people make these like weird things. Anyway, sorry, nobody's responding to this, so I'm just gonna move on. All right. But it is really catchy. I'm like, I don't know, morally, I disagree, but music-wise, it's catchy. I can't think of anything. Let me just talk about videos, and then we'll get into it. I put out 2 SpongeBob videos in a row. I actually realized I didn't have a SpongeBob playlist, so I made one which includes all my SpongeBob videos I've done, which are just the sequels. I need to review the original. It seems like a lot of people are like, when are you going to do that? So maybe next year when the 4th one comes out or something. We'll see. I guess it could be in the movie review vote if someone wants to do that. But otherwise, I'll next year. But what was I gonna say there? Yeah, it was cool doing 2 SpongeBob ones, so the compilation ones, because I was in Baltimore this past weekend. That was a lot of fun. Just doing family stuff, and it's nice going back to Baltimore and stuff. And then I think that's the Panther thing, which that's cool. I kind of like. I think I might. So I used to take pictures of graffiti on Instagram. Now it feels like that's kind of not the vibe. So maybe I'll just bring those over to shorts and stuff. But we'll see. I'm kind of messing around with some stuff. But yeah, there's now a SpongeBob playlist, and I remember the SpongeBob anime. I was like, what happened to episode 2? I never thought about it. Oh, SpongeBob Turns White. November and December get really busy, so I don't want to count on that. But that is a good point, Dan. Thank you for bringing that up. The throwbacks. Sorry, throwbacks. Because we have both the throwbacks are alien related, and the second one is actually a really interesting story. So the first one is Don't Breathe, which is by Fede Alvarez, and since I felt the new Alien Romulus, at least the sort of logline trailer or description, sorry, seems like Don't Breathe. I thought it was a good way to do a throwback. I also, when I shot horror movies in the dark and stuff, and even shot a time lapse of me doing that. So it's kind of a half throwback because it's in the, if you look at the community post, it's there, but it's not an actual post itself. And then the other one is John Carpenter's first movie, Dark Star, which if you don't know the deal with Dark Star, it was a film he made in college with his friend Dan O'Bannon. That's important. I'll get to it. He was making it in college. It was a student film. They really liked it. John Carpenter, for real, had one of the most successful student film careers I've ever heard. He had a film that he worked on get, I think, nominated for an Oscar and then played in theaters for a year. And then later he had one of his short films become a feature and then play in theaters. So I've never heard of any film student ever doing that. But Dark Star, and it played, and they gave it some more money, and it was like kind of this 2001 parody. But then what happened is, this isn't a joke here, Dan O'Bannon, who would also play The Shape in Halloween, ended up taking the script to Dark Star and changing it, and took this like funny script, and there's an alien on the ship hunting them, and changed that into Alien. So the original basis of Alien is this funny sci-fi parody movie, and Dan O'Bannon reinterpreted the script, and obviously Walter Hill worked on it as well, and Walter Hill's a really talented screenwriter as well, changed it into Alien. So the basis of Alien is actually John Carpenter's first movie. John Carpenter's never worked on an Alien movie, which stinks, but Dan O'Bannon, who came up with it, Dark Star is the basis. So it's from my John Carpenter series. I think that'll be out tomorrow, but you can watch it today because, I don't know who Red Smack is, but I can't, I'm doing this now. Who even is that? I don't, before I do it now, since you said it twice, I'm like, I'm assuming this is, I'm going to see who this is. Red Smack. I don't know who that is. It doesn't seem like someone who would be into me. I don't know who this person is, but that's weird. Anyway. Yeah, I don't, is that, this, I don't know. I'll watch it later. She seems to be streaming right now, and good for her. All right, don't. Okay, it's just a bot. Never mind. Sorry, I thought it was a real thing. I recommend moving on. Okay. All right, so this and everything I do. Sorry about that. Dark Star's on Tubi? Perfect place. All right. I will not talk about it anymore. All right. Thank you, guys. Apologies. I was like, maybe someone really is. I was curious, and it's definitely not. All right. This and everything I do is supported by you, the fans, either through either through super chats during the show, which helps me have more energy with this NOS energy drink. Just imagine I'm in a Fast and Furious and I'm hitting that button, and then the car goes really fast, except I'm talking about movies and stuff. So that's cool. Or through my Patreon, where you get all sorts of exclusive stuff like postcards, which I mailed out last week. My commentary series, which the Knock first one, came on last week as well. And you get more power in the movie review vote, and you get to see the totals and stuff like that, which will be out soon. And also you get emails and stuff whenever I put out anything. It helps me support the show and everything like that if you're financially able to do so, either through the super chats, which you can do throughout the show, and the Patreon. Either one you want to do is cool, as long as you're financially able to do so. If not, just watching is cool, but liking and subscribing also helps as well. But if you're just here and just chilling out and just like watching it, you've never commented and you're just here, thank you for being here. I like that you're here. Thank you very much. All right. Oh, sorry. It's been a little like blah, blah today. If you like everyone in the chat right here, then you should check out the Discord, which is run really well by Zane Powers and Austin. They have all sorts of cool stuff. So if you like the community here and want to hang out with them anytime, you should click on the link below for my Discord. It's the Discord that I'm most active in. It has all sorts of cool channels, like General, where I actually ask them, like, what do you want me to talk about in movie crap tonight? As well as, like, there's a daily question. They do movie watches every week. I don't know which one it's going to be, but they probably do. It's Beetlejuice, apparently. Oh, cool. That's a good idea. They there's also the licensed playing card channel when I show off playing cards, movie chats, the Ask Jim channel where you can ask me questions, all sorts of cool stuff that is there. Check it out in the link below if you haven't already. And Cornbread says they'd love to have you, and check out, Cornbread does a thumbnail prediction every week, and I usually check it out the next day. Maybe I'll check it out tonight, but it's always a cool thing. It's a really cool community. They're not doing a watch along this week. Sorry, I didn't read it correctly. Beetlejuice will be next week, but if you want to do that, you can. It is a really cool community, and if you like hearing me talk to the chat, you're like, I would like to be part of that, but I can never be the show. It's right there. It's awesome. All right, I'll probably make a fair amount of Beetlejuice content when that happens. Fair warning. I'd like to review the new one. I'd like to do an episode of the cartoon. There's another thing. It'll be cool. All right. Where is my... Okay, so starting off the show, we need to talk about Beau Demayo, because the allegations finally came out. After we've heard that he was canceled, we heard he was fired. He wasn't really... Well, I guess he was canceled. We heard he was fired, and for all these months since the beginning of X-Men 97 to now, it's been like, we heard he did something not good, and that he was basically like majorly fired. It wasn't like when they found out, they're like, okay, to take a week off, or like, let's, you're suspended for a little bit. Like, they straight out fired him. So what we learned, because how this drama started is he revealed that he had been taken. Oh, hello, Modelo Butterfly. His executive producer credit had been taken away because he posted a fan art someone did of him without a shirt on as Cyclops during Gay Pride. And at first you're like, that's weird that they would get so upset about that. And then he revealed that had happened. Disney then went, hey, there's actually some really bad allegations, and we feel right that we fired you for this. And then soon after, Jeff Snyder came out and revealed the allegations, which I kind of thought him or someone else would reveal what happened, because it had been pushed to a certain level. I'm surprised nobody did before, but it seems like they were probably waiting for it to be more searchable and more of a topic, and everyone was talking about, like, well, what the fuck happened? And obviously someone was going to reveal it. So what happened was, supposedly he was both sending pictures of him with his shirt off, and in various phases of undress. I heard naked in one phrasing, but it seems like either way it was gross and weird. He sent pictures of him not wearing much clothes or no clothes in hero poses to pretty much everyone who was under 30 on his staff, or at least looked under 30, pretty much or who was male, because Beau Demayo is gay. He sent them to everyone, and literally several people have admitted that they all had them. Then also that there was an assistant and several assistants who he both emotionally, sexually, and physically abused in various times. So I think the reason the Cyclops image maybe upset them is because, like, that was part of the allegations, that he sent people that stuff. And obviously if you had been, I'm going to take a wild kind of guesstimation that if he did kind of harass you in certain ways, you also got those images. And then if someone makes fan art of him posing as one of the X-Men, then obviously that would be triggering, and obviously you would go to Disney HR and say, hey, what the fuck? And they're like, actually, yeah, what the fuck is this? And supposedly they did have rules about what he could post on social media, and I feel like that probably broke some of that, because he actually did the things that he, got fired for. And now he's being very quiet on social media. He's only revealing things from his lawyer. He's saying, like, oh, these are not true and stuff, even though people found old tweets from someone who worked on The Witcher, which was his previous show, which he was also fired from, talking about how someone who wrote on the show had a back and forth with him. And he's like, I really wouldn't be talking about this on social media since you were fired for harassment and all the various other stuff. So this is a pattern with him. Supposedly the Marvel executive who hired him is in a lot of trouble. because they didn't do their due diligence. That is not Kevin Feige. Supposedly Kevin Feige just sort of like gives notes and watches edits and stuff like that. He's not as majorly involved in the show, although he can, take credit for it as the big Marvel honcho guy. So, I think it was right that they fired him. I kind of have always been a little not 100% wanting to praise him because we were all aware that something happened. I think he wrote a great first season, despite who he is. I do think that first season, as much as everyone proclaims him, is very, like, in my mind, very top heavy, where it's like, I don't know where this goes. And I think he set it up. Like, he made a great first season, but it didn't seem like he had much regard for, like, the other seasons. In my mind, but we haven't seen those yet, so maybe they'll work out. But I think my thing with him is he is extremely, an extremely egotistical person, and anyone who's like, treats themselves like hot shit and they're amazing all the time, and which he very much does. He never credits anyone but himself. In fact, when I did my review of X-Men 97 and I was mentioning other writers, I was kind of like, man, I never hear about these guys except for him. And he's really taken all the air out of all the credit on the show. It's amazing to me that he conducts himself in this way, because it almost feels like he was tempting the allegations to come out. Because, like, for so long, I think people thought, something happened, but maybe it'll go away. And then he started tweeting in episode 5, which episode 5, like, I thought what he wrote was fine. That's a big episode. Maybe he had a deal with Marvel. It's like, I would like to write something because Remember It is, I'm okay with that. But all his posting with his shirt off and all his, like, that stuff, and his, like, and I always thought his OnlyFans was weird, and, like, how he's revealing things about the show, which I also thought was, like, not cool. He always did this creepy stuff, but he always, like, did it like, I'm Beau Demayo, I'm the greatest. He was going to D23, he was at Comic-Con, he was showing up at stuff despite he's been fired. He wasn't really, he was very much, like, goading them to, like, hey, reveal my allegations. But I also think he thinks he's, like, the greatest ever. He supposedly really likes his acclaim he got from X-Men 97, which, I agree he wrote a good first season, but at the same time, like, you shouldn't be going around when you treated everyone horribly and sent sexually suggestive imagery to people, unwarranted. There are people, like, I went to art school, I knew people who would ask people to pose for them in various states of undress, but it was, like, consensual, or at least I believe it was consensual. I don't know. But, like, I would ask someone and they would say, yeah, sure. That's, this didn't seem like that. If someone had asked Beau Demayo, hey, can you pose as, like, Cyclops or whatever in the office and just, do a pose or something, that would be one thing. But if, in terms of artist stuff, like, don't send people stuff unless I don't really understand I don't know. I've not dated a long time, so I don't understand this, like, dick pic mentality kind of thing. Like, I always thought that was weird, but I just don't know. I definitely have a lesser opinion of him, and anyone, to be real honest with you, I think the pictures are one thing, but the fact that he's, like, physically abusing someone, sexually abusing someone, that to me is like, anyone who does that, either a workplace or not, I have virtually no real respect for as a person. And if you feel like you need to do that as a manager, on the everyday, to, like, harass people and belittle people, you're not, I don't think you should be writing X-Men. I think you're unfit as a person, but I think you're unfit for that property, because that pure property is about people who are belittled and harassed and maligned. And if you are actually doing that to people, you should not be writing that. And I think everyone who goes, like, oh, I'm nerdy, and proclaiming that, and, like, oh, they're silencing me, is like, but if you're silencing other people, you are just as bad as the oppressors you claim other people to be. So I'd actually say he's a complete failure as a person, or of what he claims to be. He's a complete fraud, to be honest with you. I don't think there's any way to go about it, And the fact that he was posting that fan art, that fan art can exist, and it, even if he liked it, that's weird. But if it just exists that he had nothing to do with, which part of me is like, maybe I don't know, but he also put shirtless pictures of himself out there. It's like, anyway, I find it really disappointing, and I think he's a fraud. I don't care. Like, fuck him, basically. I think he wrote a great season of X-Men 97. I think that's still a great season. It's probably one of the best seasons, even compared to the Fox show. But still, I will never really get over him as a complete fraud. I don't, he can write whatever. I don't think many people will hire him after the way he behaves and conducts himself. And the fact that other writers who work for him pretty much all don't like him and don't get why he talks so much shit on social media and does all those sort of things is, yeah. So anyway, I know that's like a heavyweight. I feel like people want me to, I don't know. I know people wanted me to talk about this, and there's kind of no way to like talk about it in a way that's not like pretty serious. So I'm sorry if I started the show this way. I did get a lot of messages like, how do you feel that it came out? And I was like, I don't feel good knowing this. I think we all knew though. We all knew. But anyway. I didn't talk about the MomoCon thing. I meant to. Oh well, moving on. I think that's settled. I guess, yeah, I posted that picture of the MomoCon poster, and a lot of people came out of the woodworks there like, oh, you shouldn't be proud of that time. And I think I explained it fairly well that I like the time, but I don't condone what Cosmo or Nolan or whomever else did. But it was getting kind of really toxic in those replies. It was very disappointing, but at the same time, like, I think everyone who was there, who is on Twitter or X or whatever, liked it and was like, I agree, I still have it framed, like, I don't have a problem with it. Like, there's nothing that event, but I was like, whoa, this is like, although I do say, I think I conducted myself well. There's a bunch of people who I explained myself, and they were like, okay, thank you for being respectful. And I thought that, I thought, I don't know. In the end, I was like, I'm glad I handled it well, because in my mind, I wanted to say, get fucked to people. But I took a second, and I think it made me realize, like, a lot of people will come around if you treat them respectfully. And there are a lot of people who, like, I did that too, who followed me after that. So I think, if anything, it makes me feel good that I was able to course correct a little bit. But I don't think there's anything wrong about, like, saying I enjoyed my time with my friends. I didn't know what we know now. Obviously, I'm not saying I was like, and also it was a joke that I said proudly displayed in my mom's laundry room. I thought it was kind of, people were like, proudly displayed. It wasn't on my mantelpiece. Like, it was like, I don't know. That's the part that I thought I'd be like, it was like a joke. Like, it was also like covered with laundry. Maybe I should have taken a picture that way and people would have got it. But I thought it was whatever. I don't know. I still think it's a cool picture, but I thought it was weird. Like, some people are like, there's like threads of like drama and stuff. But the funnier part is, like, there are for real people on there. I do not. Who's the person with the Gravity Falls book? I don't know who that is. Like, who is that? There was one person there who was like younger and kept like looking at me like, the fuck are you doing here? And I was like, who are you? And I still don't know who it is. Anyway, still don't know who they are. I don't like to, shouldn't talk shit because, but there are definitely people in there who I could not identify. Maybe I should make that video. But that was weird. But I feel good that I was able to get people to like, okay, all right. But it was like, man, people really want to come out and be like, well, you know about Cosmodor. I'm like, yeah, we know about Cosmodor. Like, he wasn't doing that in front of us that we were aware of. Like, it wasn't. Anyway. All right, let's move on, actually. I'm sorry. This is the beginning of the show. Let's talk about something more fun. The TED cartoon show. So what is the deal with this? And I think this is actually misreported in a lot of ways. So I actually wanted to talk about this because everyone is like, oh, they're making the cartoon show because the other one costs so much. And they're making the cartoon show because they have to, even though the show's a hit. So here's what happened with Ted and Seth MacFarlane. Oh, have I met Velskabum? That's crazy. I watch him sometimes. He's alright with news. Um, that okay, that's funny. I didn't even know that. All right. Didn't know that. All right. Um, so what's the deal with this? Is Seth MacFarlane overall has a deal with Universal? It was a pretty big deal. They approached him when they made the TED show, and he said, they were like, we would like you to make a TED show. And he was like, look, if I make it, I want it to be high budget. I want it to have the same production value as the movie. If you're willing to do that, I'll make the show. And they were like, yeah, we'll pony up. He has said this. Peacock executives have said this. Suddenly, though, that version of the truth, which has been very well established when the TED show came out, which was, 8 months ago or something, when they announced they wanted to do a cartoon one, they didn't say the other one was canceled or something. Everyone went, oh, it's because that show costs too much. But I was like, that's not the economics that are going on here. Maybe they went, oh, wow, it's going to cost so much. But almost all of them were like, well, we spent this because we wanted a hit. And they got a hit. It really worked out for Peacock. It's one of their premier shows. To me, it's just like they want a second show of their premiere show, and no one could write it that way. They had to write it as like Peacock's burning money. I'm like, Peacock, bitch, Peacock has been burning money for this whole time. Like however, 50 million, whatever they spent on TED, like that's gonna, that's the least of their problems, man. Like it's like if they don't make a TED season 2 and it's suddenly animated, they're not course correcting. So it was kind of like a weird, because everyone's like, it's probably because of this. And I'm like, is it though? They didn't say that. They just said they're greenlighting a TED cartoon. So I think it's like a pretty obvious thing. Like, it's like, okay. And I'm sure they asked him after it was a success to do that. But, I don't know. It was very much misreported in my mind because it's like you're making up a story basically. You're inferring things, but like I was always like any interview I heard from him was basically very forthright. It was like, look, this is an expensive show, and Peacock was like, yeah, it fucking is sweet. I don't know. I found that to be odd. So there's going to be an animated TED show. To clear that up, it does not seem to be. The cartoon is not because the other show was too expensive. The cartoon is because they have a huge deal with Seth MacFarlane. They obviously want to make the most out of that deal, which financially makes more sense than them spending a lot on a show they knew they were spending a lot on. To me, it's like, maybe if Universal comes out and says like, yeah, no, but I can also see the one other thing I can see with this is that Seth MacFarlane he is doing a lot of voice acting. He's not really writing except for the TED show. He says he did like 40 to 50 hours of mocap or something like that. He did a lot of mocap for TED, the show. If he is too busy, which he's a busy guy. He's making like, how many shows does he have? Who knows? And it's probably easier for him to make a cartoon show. So I think it might actually be that. And they might have realized, like, by the time he gets to make it, like, the kid actor will be too old, and, like, maybe we do a time jump. We have to figure that out. Can we just do, like, a TED the show this way? I can see that, to me, makes more sense, to be honest with you, rather than the version of events that everyone's made up in their fucking head. All right, I'm going to bring this up just because I feel like I should mention it. I'm going to drink some water. Nos is over here there. Look, I love movie drama. Obviously I have a show that talks about movie news, but I'm going to be honest with you, the It Ends With Us controversy is one of the weakest controversy I've ever heard in my fucking life. I mean, some of it is funny, like not how Blake Lively is promoting it, where she's like kind of acting like it's a rom-com or something. Although I love the girl's TikTok where she advertises, she promotes Schindler's List, how Blake Lively is promoting It Ends With Us. That is legitimately very funny. And I think she did it with another movie. And they're both funny. I was like, that's the best part of this whole thing. But it's just, to me, it's like, unless there's bigger things, like, to me, it's like Blake Lively's not really good at doing press, which is surprising for someone who's as famous as she is. And then the other one is... that the guy asked because he has back problems when he had to lift her how much she weighed and she got offended or something. Which to me, it's like sounds like he just went up to her and said like hey, hey fat, how much are you or something. I don't know. I feel like if they asked in a really shitty way, I can understand that. But it's also like Blake Lively, like nobody's fat shaming you. I thought that was a very silly thing. But whatever. I'm just like I'm not really going to talk about it, but I just acknowledge that this is like it's not like Don't Worry Darlings where there's like kind of interesting stuff. There's a cool article. It's just like, guess what? She sucks as a person and is bad at doing the thing, one of the elements of her job that she gets paid a lot for. Although I learned she makes a drink. She's a mixologist for an alcoholic drink, and she doesn't drink alcohol, and that was like maybe the most offensive thing I've ever heard. It was like you make an alcoholic drink and you don't drink alcohol. Like you're a mixologist who doesn't drink. Like shut the fuck up. Like you're not a mixologist. Like how do you try it then? I don't understand. How do you know what you're making is good? Like you don't even drink it. Like that's the dumbest crap I've ever heard in my fucking life. Like whatever. Anyway, I acknowledged it. There we go. Yeah, and I don't know if I'll see that movie. Maybe my wife want to watch it or something, but I'm not really that invested in it. It's weird because I was like, what is this movie about? It's like, it sounds like domestic violence from that title. And like, you watch the trailers, I'm like, I guess they're in love and she has a flower shop. Like, he doesn't like, whoa. Weird. All right. So Joker 2 is upon us, or Joker, whatever the fuck that French thing is. And Joker 2, well, the good news is Sylvain Chomet, or the director of Triples of Belleville, is doing the opening of a Looney Tunes style thing that opens the Joker 2, which Vera Drake already pointed out is something the People's Joker did already. But yes, this sounds cool actually because I like the director of Triples of Belleville. The Illusionist, I think, is extremely underrated and under-talked about movie. But he's a great director, animation director. I'm glad he's getting a showcase in a movie that's going to be do a big thing. Todd Phillips, wow. First off, as a director, I know he did a G.G. Allen thing or something, and everyone goes, no, he's interesting. He did that G.G. Allen thing. I'm like, dude, he made 3 Hangover movies. That shit is not that good. Not that good. It's not... I don't know. Anyway, I think I talk about Hangover 2 and whenever the 2011 tier list comes out, but it's just like sometimes he has an interesting idea or an interesting part, but I've never found him that fascinating. I know people did or used to or something. I just feel like he's like pretty boring as a person and a director. He went on his cancel culture rants, even though like guy hasn't even attempted to make a comedy, so like whatever. And then hello writer Albert White, that's an interesting name. But like, yeah, he went on cancel culture rants, and now he's like saying it's not a musical. It's like people sing through their dialogue, which is like, motherfucker, that's a musical. What are you talking about? So we best ignore him. I don't want to hear like, oh no, maybe the Joker will cause riots, and like it didn't. And then there's still people who like would get mad at me and like, no, it's a truly subversive movie. I'm like, I think Martin Scorsese made a subversive movie, 2 subversive movies, and they combined it with a fairly racist subway shooting incident and made a movie. That's not a joke. So I don't have... I'm sort of interested because this seems like sort of off the wall, at least. I'm very curious. But man, Todd Phillips is like the worst at giving it. I really wish they wouldn't let him do interviews. So, you know, we did learn from the Joaquin Phoenix thing that apparently he's tried to quit like pretty much every movie he's been in. Except for man, what an idiot. Anyway, he's pretty like Joker, Napoleon, like any movie recently he's tried to quit at some point. But yeah, he sounds like he's getting sued, and they tried to get Pedro Pascal to play his part, but that doesn't really make any sense. But whatever. Yeah. Oh, and I heard his thing about the budget. I really don't. He seems, the thing is like Todd Phillips, and even the guy who did that is Todd Phillips. The guy did the Entourage show, and he'll go on these weird cancel culture rants. I'm like, I think it's like their legacy. They don't understand that like time and perception changes, and they're like so angry about that. And they're like, the world is on fire because I can't be racist anymore, and people laugh, or I can't be sexist or misogynist or something. I can't do that. That was the word I was searching for before. Like I can't do that anymore, and like it's not fair. And I'm like, dude, you have more money than anyone could imagine. Make a low budget movie doing that stuff and release it, and like prove that, because I don't know, but of course they won't do that. They won't do that. They'll just complain that the big studio won't let them do those things anymore. But it's like, I don't know. But I refuse to believe Todd Phillips is an interesting filmmaker, because he did like, I think it was a G.G. Allen thing, or like some, I'm not going to look it up. I already looked up that scammer thing, so I'm not going to look up the other thing. But he did some doc, and people were like, he used to be a cutting edge filmmaker. I'm like, whatever that is, like, he is not. A guy directed Old School a lot, like a while ago. If he was ever edgy, it was in the 90s or the 80s, and that was a very long time ago. All right. So, we got 3 in a row of, guess what, guys? People suck. Yay. One is a thing I didn't know. And then we have just like TV show of movies news. Anyway, so this is not news, but it was news to me that first of all, I've only seen of the Michael Keatons, of the Christopher Reeve Supermans, I've only seen the first 3, which are the ones I've reviewed. I don't know if I'll review 4 when the new one comes out, or Superman Returns. That's something I'll have to figure out. It's confirmed. Anything I look up this will also be a scam. True. Except for my Patreon, which is not a scam. I don't know why I did that. Anyway, I learned that Christopher Reeves, apparently, like, Margot Kidder was not the romantic lead in that, because Christopher Reeves felt she was too old. And then there's like, someone cut together interviews, and he basically is like, yeah, no, like, the audience like won't believe Superman, like the fucking old as shit Lois Lane. I'm like, aren't you guys like the same age? What the fuck is going on right now? Like, anyway, I was really disappointed. Eventually I will see Superman 4. It came out like when I was a kid, and my parents didn't take me or anything, and I might have seen an ad, but I never saw it. But it's crazy that, yeah, I was like, man, I never thought Christopher Reeves like fucking sucked. Like, it's pretty. Why am I looking at my page? Yeah, that's a good point. But anyway, I was just surprised by that. I was like, I'd never seen it. I heard she wasn't in it as much, but I assumed like maybe she asked for more money, or like she didn't get along with the director, the producers, or something. Which the Salkinds were like majorly hard to deal with. So like, anyway, I had always assumed it was something else, but then I was like, oh no, it's Superman that sucks. Cool. Anyway, all right, so Michael Keaton, so what he said basically is, they asked him about the Batgirl thing. He said he loved the directors, he loved working on it, but as for like himself, he was okay because he got paid. It didn't bother him too much that it got shelved. My thing with this is, I didn't hear him actually say that. Hey, Kyle Garrison. We just read him saying that, and I can see it as an offhanded thing, like saying like, I'm okay, I love those guys, but he didn't really say anything like that shouldn't have happened. Or even when John Cena talked about Coyote vs. Acme, when that was shelved, he was at least like diplomatic. And I actually read Cena's as like, I hope it was a good business decision, kind of almost like, I hope this worked out if you're gonna like just throw our shit away, which is like, I could see as passive aggressive in some sense of the word. But Michael Keaton's just sounded like he was like, whatever, I got paid, bitches, I don't fucking care. I thought that was, I don't know, it just didn't land super well. I'm a little surprised he would say it that way. Not as bad as the Superman thing, but I wish he had, I don't know, I wish he had phrased it differently. It's sad that happened, but it's like, he could be a little nicer. I don't know, he could be like, it seems like he's just like, yeah, whatever, I mean, I don't know, he could have been like about the fucking Flash. And it is weird, like, I don't know how many times we're gonna have Michael Keaton keep coming back, because he came back for as the Batman. He's back as Beetlejuice. Like, what are we getting? Multiplicity too? Like, what else is there? Like, I don't know. I feel like this is like the last peak because like, what else could he? Mr. Mom, Mr. Grandma, maybe? I don't know. Uh, Mr. Mom does not age well. I'm going to be honest. Like, any joke in the 80s was like, how do you change a diaper? I have a penis. I don't know how. Like, those. But the problem is, like, I don't know. I was working on. I was actually working on for a few people. Oh, hey, Rat Boy. About Mr. Mom and how, like, it doesn't age well and that's not how parenting is nowadays. And like almost everyone rejected it because some high up person would always be like, well, I grew up with it and it's great. And I was like, but that's not my point. Whatever. It just yeah, it was, I've noticed like any reevaluation of that movie, like I pitched it a few places and someone always goes like no, that movie's great, but it's not really. Terry Garr is hot as shit in that movie. I'm going to be sorry to be gross or anything, but Terry Garr looks amazing in that movie. I was like, damn, she looks really good. I think she's dead now or something, or retired, but we definitely missed each other because I think they came out before I was born, but she looks very beautiful in that movie, and she's not my type. Anyway, moving on. I'm sorry. Forget I did that. All right, Brett Ratner is trying to make a comeback with Rush Hour 4, which is pitching all over the place. My thing with first off, Brett Ratner has major Eddie Murphy envy. He very much wanted to do Beverly Hills Cop 4, which he didn't get to do. He was going to produce the Oscars with Eddie Murphy. He was going to do all this stuff with Eddie Murphy. Never worked out. And so I'm assuming he was like, hey, Beverly Hills Cop, oh, wow, I forgot Terry Garr was in Ghost World. Good point, man. Can't wait for Jack Frost 2. True. Jack Frost. Hey, at this point, you know what he could come back as? His character from Jackie Brown and Out of Sight. They should like do something with that. Remember that was a big deal at the time when Tarantino worked out. It was like, stop your dumb studio bullshit and let Michael Keaton be in both movies because they were being made at the same time or around the same time. I think that okay. I deserve that spelling of my name, Sirodowski. I deserve that. But yeah, they should do more with the Elmore Leonard stuff because he did it. But that was like the only MCU-ish thing we got in the 90s, and it was all because Tarantino got mad at them. That's everything. I've heard from executives like, no, Tarantino put his foot down. It's like, you need to drop all your bullshit and let this happen. It'd be really cool. And he was right. Anyway, cheers to you, Nathaniel Foga. I can't wait for Jack Frost 2 as well. What other movies... Man, late Keaton, wasn't he in like a horror movie like White Noise or something like that? Cheers to you. Need for Speed 2? The other guys too, I would be more down for. That was when, whatever that guy's name is, a better director. All right. But yeah, Brett Ratner is trying to pitch a Rush Hour 4. There's no word on if Chris Tucker or Jackie Chan are involved, which is kind of one of those things where like, kind of essential. I don't know. Here's the thing with Brett Ratner. I do not like Brett Ratner. Before the allegations, I thought he's like, I think Community shits on him all the time. He's a horrible director. He's like not good. He made the worst X-Men movie. Well, I don't know. There's a lot of bad X-Men movies, but he made one of the worst X-Men movies. He's just not a good director. Like, I'm sorry. Like Rush Hour, the first one sort of came together somehow, but everything else he made is like fucking garbage. Like, he's a bad director. And then all these horrible allegations came out too. The AV Club used to always like put unflattering pictures. And, like, people do not like this guy. Like, everyone's like, oh, and then he was canceled and people didn't like him. Like, no, nobody liked him. But he's a bad director. He sucks. Like, this is one of those things like, Harvey Weinstein produced so many good movies. Well, what? This is more like, we all hate this guy. This guy stinks. He's a bad director. Just Hollywood, like, there's nothing to save here. Like, this is not one of those things like, if only Woody Allen could make a movie. No. He did X-Men 3. No. He's horrible. Like, just please just let him go off and die somewhere. We don't need any more Brett Ratner. We didn't before we learned all those things about him. That gives an extra reason not to ever use him. Just leave it alone. Anyway. Like, he legit sucks. Like, he's the worst. All right, so TV show. We have some TV show things. I guess a couple. I think at around 12, I should probably just stop so I can do all the best things. Yeah, X-Men. Well, my wife and I were watching the X-Men movies, and we were skipping over ones. But then she did like when we watched Days of Future Past. They reference X-Men 3 a lot, and she was like, "Who's that guy?" I'm like, "Well, in X-Men 3," and I just keep explaining X-Men 3. But X-Men 3 is bad. To me, the good X-Men movies are. I'll let the first one go. I don't really like the first one, but it's like Bryan Singer was sort of rushed and all that stuff. X-Men 2. I would go First Class, Days of Future Past. I think that's it for the main X-Men ones. And then I would... The Wolverine, I'm like, And then Logan. The Wolverine, I'm like, I mean, why not? Is my my idea with that. And then I'm not the biggest Deadpool fan, so I don't know. Maybe one of them, whichever one you want. I would maybe Deadpool Wolverine. I'm as passionate about that as the Wolverine. Although the bullet train sequence, very good. I would put that if we're doing best X-Men action sequences, I would put that in my top 5 or whatever. I would do that. What? Days of Future Past is one of the worst? You know what? Okay. Next time I would like to debate. Although I will say I'm a huge fan of the comic, which is 2 comics, and I do think the animated show does a better job with Days of Future Past. Days of Future Past is not really a movie. It's like an hour episode or maybe an hour and a half, and they really expand it too long. And they make like something else. Although the Quicksilver thing is cool. But yeah, this is interesting. I am ready for this debate. Whenever we get to meet up again, Center, I'm into it. X-Men Origins Wolverine. I did rewatch that, and that is no, I know you're talking about the movie. No, the comics are great. But I think it works better as a. That's another X-Men one that works better as a cartoon. Anyway, first up for the movie, we're talking about TV shows. There's a Pacific Rim prequel show. That's in development. Guillermo del Toro is not involved. My thing with this is I really like the first Pacific Rim, although I hate that all the fights are shot in darkness. I really wish they're more shot like the Showa era thing. I don't know why del Toro shot them so dark. Although I like that movie, that's like my only gripe with it. But thing with Pacific Rim is like it only is interesting if del Toro does it, because when the second one came out, Pacific Rim Uprising, if you watched Mystery Science Theater and they reviewed the Mockbuster or whatever Atlantic Rim, there were parts in Atlantic Rim that they even were like, wait, did Pacific Rim Uprising rip off the Mockbuster of Pacific Rim Atlantic Rim? Because there's parts in Atlantic Rim that are straight up in Pacific Rim Uprising. So it's like the cheapo version of Pacific Rim got ripped off in it. This is supposed to be a prequel show that could be interesting, but I think the thing is like you need a lot of money for that. But I didn't know about the Pacific Rim anime. That does sound interesting, Nathaniel. Maybe I should check that out. But I'm like, I kind of like think you need someone who's really gonna have fun with it. Like when the Jaeger or whatever hit that bad guy, or the robot hit with the boat and stuff. You have to have someone really inventive with the fights and stuff. But if you don't have that, to me, it's like, why do Pacific Rim? I think that's stupid. Supposedly, there's also going to be a Poltergeist show. Again, I saw the remake. I didn't see any of this. Maybe I watched part of a sequel once. I don't remember that. My thing with Poltergeist is like the reason the first one worked is, and we're not getting into who directed it right now, but creatively, I can say this safely, Tobe Hooper and Spielberg were involved in that. You're telling me you're going to do better or comparable to the directors of Jaws and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre? I'm sorry. No. It's just not happening. It's just like, stop it with this shit. Like, it's I know Glenn Keane, I think, did the Poltergeist remake, and he did Monster House is cool, but like, just don't try to do that. Leave it alone. The reason the first one worked is you had a really great creative team. And I think sometimes people need to recognize, like, if you're going to spend the money and you're going to get me, like, I don't know, like James Wan and uh, Ari Aster or something. If you got those two, I'd be like, okay, I'm interested. But if you're not doing that, just stop it. Poltergeist worked because of that. It didn't work because of the, in a show, like, what are you going to show them moving the bodies of the Native Americans in one episode, and like people are joking around? Like, I don't understand that at all. But in more serious news here, I forgot to write down this guy's name. Hold on. A24 is moving forward with their Friday the 13th. I have a bit of trivia about him, and I wrote down the trivia, not the guy's fucking name. But the Crystal Lake series, which is the prequel series to Friday the 13th, which I think could sort of work. I can actually kind of envision it in my head, has gotten a new showrunner. His name is Brad Kelp Kane. And you know what the fun little trivia about this dude is that he, I keep hearing from people, was the singing voice of Aladdin in the movie Aladdin. So that was like his, and then he became a writer. So the singing voice of Aladdin is running the Camp Crystal Lake show. I think this is it could be something. I don't get the obsession with the prequel to Friday the 13th. To me, it's like, I don't think people really want a Jason-less Friday the 13th as much. This is just because the rights are all tied up and someone wants to do something with it. I think it's stupid. Well, hey, William Ellman said the last Poltergeist remake is what is the last time I remember walking out of the movie theater. I can agree with that. Cheers to you, sir. Thank you very much. It was not good. No. It was. I forgot what I said about it in the review somewhere. I haven't read the original, but I think I made my thoughts very clear. That Poltergeist remake. It's just like, seriously, just you have to get a good creative team. That's what made that special. Where were we? Okay, The Acolyte was canceled. This is kind of everyone's big talking point. Did the Toxic Trolls cancel The Acolyte? Anything like that. I actually talked to a few people about this, and it seems like I have my own personal theory, and I'll get to that, but most people who like Star Wars were like, the writing really wasn't there. They didn't feel the incentive to watch it week after week because the writing, it didn't grab them. I think the Toxic Troll thing made it hard. And I think Star Wars, to be honest with you, I loved Star Wars when I was a kid. Then the prequels kind of soured me because they were like not good and I didn't enjoy watching them. And now the post-Last Jedi world, I'm also like, I really just don't want to deal with it sometimes and like hear all the shitty theories from dumbass people about like how, this is the way and fans should be respected kind of stuff. It kind of turned me off as well. But I also think like I watched all the Book of Boba Fett. I watched every Mandalorian. I need to watch Andor. I haven't watched that. I didn't watch Ahsoka, but I know that became a big show. But if you notice from what I was saying about that, parts 5 and 9. Yeah, you're right. Wait, which one was 9? 9 is the... That's before Jason X? Jason Goes to... Oh, yeah, they do. Yeah, those are... Jason Goes to Hell isn't so bad, but yeah, 5 is not great. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, Kyle Garrison. Yeah, just say do not recommend channel. That guy, Critical Drinker, is horrible. But I think the thing is... No, I think the troll thing was part of it, but I think it's the Jedi lore stuff. I agree with what Cornbread is saying, but here's the other thing. When I listed off all of those Star Wars shows, they are all people from other Star Wars things. And then you go, oh, there's finally an Ahsoka show. There's finally... Mandalorian is sort of an odd one out, but I think it's also because that show became appointment TV, and it was the first one, and also Baby Yoda, and like it was able... And it sort of was like, okay, it's Boba Fett, but not. Like there's something there. This is like, I do think people overemphasize the Jedi thing. I know a lot of people who say, I don't like the Jedi stuff. I want to see the other stuff. And I think like part of it is they're not going into the universe in enough of an interesting way for a lot of the audience. But at the same point is like the way Star Wars shows are sold, you either have a name person from a previously existing thing like Ahsoka and or all this stuff They're like, here's a mainline character. Or, in my mind, you get someone really big who you're like, oh shit, that guy's in Star Wars. Like, whether it be like, I'm just throwing off the top of my head, I know this is a basic answer, but like if you had Keanu Reeves as a Jedi, people would be like, oh shit, Keanu's a Jedi, and like you'd show pictures of him, and like people would show up for that. And you'd have to pay him a shit ton of money. But like somebody who you're like, oh my god, they got Sam Neill, maybe, I don't know, was like somebody big who like you'd be like shocked. And unless you have that, I just don't think people are going to check it out. I don't think people are that adventurous. Like the thing with Star Wars is Star Wars you could be very adventurous with. I do not think the audience presently is very adventurous with Star Wars. So I think on a marketing level you failed, but I also think at the same point nobody I know who likes Star Wars was that into it. They were like it didn't seem like they were like upset because there was black women in it or something like that. It seemed like they were just upset because the writing wasn't there. So I think if they're going to do a different thing, they really need to market it correctly, or do what Skeleton Crew and the Young Jedi Adventures, which I know is sort of taking off with the little kids, market it to a different demo, because I think the older demo is not really going to work for new different things at this point. I just don't see that really happening right now. So, all right. Also, I don't know. I think I didn't watch it, but supposedly the merchandise is off the store. Suppose people are thinking it's going to happen. What happens with Willow? I think the thing with Lucasfilm is Disney just bought it for Star Wars. They made, despite what anyone will tell you, they made all their money back before Last Jedi came out off of merch. That's how Lucas became a billionaire. Don't play these games like, oh, well, the box office receipts don't measure up to what they spent on it. They weren't, you don't buy Star Wars just for box office. Lucas is a billionaire because of plastic toys, bitch. Like, sorry, I need to stop saying bitch. Sorry. He's a billionaire because of plastic crap. Like, that's why he's really rich. Like, that's what Disney wanted, like, ultimately. So I know they've had a lot of failure from the museum, from the experience thing to this and that, and they're trying to do things, but I think Star Wars is very much like, oh, Chewbacca's in this. There's R2. Like, you need those things. That's what people are gravitated towards. So, or, do what Andor I think was an anomaly, and Mandalorian, but I think both of those were like really good. And if you don't have the critical support, and you're not going to have the critical support, like get somebody who, I do agree. Like, I think Cineron said Trinity is Jedi. I don't think that worked out. Oh, sorry, Dan. Thank you for being here. You have a good night. Appreciate it. Anyway, let's move on. Sony is supposedly having issues with Lord and Miller because of budgets. And they're saying that, thank you, Adblogger. And they're saying because they had an argument over, they were developing Silk for a long time. That didn't work out. And they're having an argument over Spider-Man Noir. I don't really know what's going on, but it does sound like they have a particular weird relationship with Sony. Although I think Sony sort of needs them because of their motion picture division, as well as with with Spider-Verse. It also sounds like Sony is not good at running an animation division, because it's like what their problems with Gendy and Lord and Miller, and it's like you kind of let these guys alone, or like not ditch things they spent years developing, or like stuff like that. I don't go straight to bed, but it takes. I trust me, I can fall asleep anytime. Anyway, it is unfortunate. I hope this doesn't become a bigger story. I hope this is just like they're having arguments. But like Sony does not sound like, it sounds like they have a lot of promises in the animation studio, but they just like gave people the money and left them alone. And I don't understand why they're not letting them do that after they delivered two, an even bigger hit that also got nominated for Best Animated Feature. So it's like, and same with like Gendy. Like Gendy gave them 3 huge hits and a 4th big hit on Amazon. Like, I think they need to figure it out. Anyway, I think I'll mention this a little bit, but it is kind of funny. J.J. Abrams is continuing his deal with Warner Brothers. He made a huge, massive deal, which he was looking to do when he left Paramount. Before he left Paramount, he pitched all of this big stuff to like keep his lot at Paramount. None of it, I don't think, including the was it Your Name? Is it Your Name? That anime remake, which I don't think I've heard much happen to. Like, he pitches all this stuff. And then I was like hearing like he's not going to make as much as like his huger deal because he didn't really produce very much. And then I remembered like there is talk he's making a Glenn Powell movie. And I was like, oh, it's because he has another deal going on. So he's like developing things so he can keep his stupid deal going. Like, I like that J.J. Abrams has just become like an industry fraud. Like, dude's not making anything. Supposedly he has trouble like picking out a film to direct. And then he like only pitches stuff when they're like, hey dude, like we're not going to sign you unless you like have stuff to prove us that we're going to spend a lot of money. He goes, Glenn Powell and I are making a movie, and Your Name, we're going to remake it. And, like, maybe, hey, Star Trek? And he's like, wrong studio, or I don't know. He does this a lot. But yeah, good night, Ramsey Ars. Thank you for being here. All right. The Chick-fil-A streaming service was announced. There's not much to say about this. Everyone's made the joke about the Sunday thing. I do think I should get my shit together. I don't know. Not much to say about it. I think it's a little ridiculous. But we'll see. It sounds like another big Christian streaming. It just sounds like a thing that like should have happened 10 years ago. It's a little ridiculous. All right, two Illumination things. One is Mattel who retains animation rights, not with Warner Brothers, is working on a deal with Illumination, which is very much Illumination, and to develop a Barbie cartoon with them. Supposedly, everyone keeps saying Greta Gerwig and Margot Robbie aren't thrilled, but at the same time, they're like, oh, I don't know if we could make a sequel and all that stuff. So I'm a little like confused. Like, do you just think you own all the things? Hey, Ransam Film, I haven't seen you in a while. J.J. Abrams, more like Mystery Box Man. That is very true. Fuck, Jesus, that whole thing. Cheers to you, sir. Glad to see you again. I don't know. To me, it's like Illumination is known for these kind of deals, so I'm not too surprised. But I am surprised that like supposedly they're fighting it at some point, or like not, openly kind of not being happy with it. I'm like, but you're not. There's no Ken spinoff that's been announced. There's nothing that's really happened with that. Like Mattel retained the rights. Like it's nothing. To me, it's like going to be a different property, but whatever. And Barbie has a lot of animated direct to, I guess, streaming or DVD movies. So it's like I think it's not. I think they need to. If they are upset, they don't really know what they're talking about. That might just be a rumor. Also, and this kind of I retweeted it, but the director of most of the Despicable Me movies, Chris Renard, I think, Renard or whatever, when asked if they could bring the Minions to live action, literally said, God, I hope not. What defines this world is that it is animated and allows us to get away with what we get away with. And I've heard even Chris Meledandri kind of poo-poo that, probably because he is in charge of this Illumination DreamWorks. He has no incentive to make a live action thing. So to him, it's probably like, why would I do that? But I like that they're like, gross. No, that's why this thing works. So it's like, I don't like the Illumination movies, but I do like the people who work there. I think they're very... you always get like these cool statements from them where they're like, no, why would I do that? I don't want to do that. And no, they seem like cool people who make bad movies. That's basically my interpretation of it. I keep seeing this thing about the Sonic 3 trailer. I just wanted to mention, I sort of think Sonic 3 could get delayed, but at the same time, the War of Rohan, I don't think has had a trailer either, and that's coming out in December. So, but I also think like you could post that Sonic 3 trailer a week before kids are gonna see it. Like it's gonna still do really well. So I'm a little half and half with it, but I'm also like, maybe they should just delay it. Like it's not really that great of a release date, especially with Moana 2 is just gonna dominate. So I'm a little like, maybe you should reconsider after the Moana 2 thing. Also, so we learned that Nick Cage is going to be John Madden in the movie, basically about the Madden video game and his involvement in it and how he didn't know anything about video games and he became involved in it. That's what the movie's actually about. David O. Russell is going to be directing. I think this stinks because David O. Russell sucks as a person. I really wish he wouldn't get chances. It sounds like it could be an interesting movie, kind of similar to Joy. But I don't know. I don't think it sounds like the worst movie, but I also don't really want them to. I don't want him to keep working. I think that's unfortunate. But supposedly, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It's the same release date as The Lion King. Ugh. They should delay it, I think. I don't know. It is a cool idea. It's just like David. I really like Three Kings and some of his stuff. I just don't like him now, and I think he kind of fell off. I sort of think he sucks as a person, and he sort of ran out of, like when he sort of came back with Silver Linings Playbook and The Fighter. He really didn't feel like the same interesting director he was in the '90s. I really think creatively he's just like trying to mine past things, but this does sound like something that could work for him. But I don't know. I don't know Willie Bell, but I don't know if he's going to do a whale type fast food, but we'll see. We also learned that Donald Duck is going to be on Hot Ones. This isn't a joke. They post a video. I'm so into this, but if Donald Duck doesn't eat a wing and his face turns all the way red and he starts shooting fire out of his mouth and then he pours a ton of water on his head, then why do we do this? I don't understand. It has to be that. That has to happen. I'm sorry. And I want more. I want Tasmanian Devil, Bugs, Goofy would be okay. I don't know. Stitch. That's who I want. I want them first. I wouldn't mind Sonic as well, but he has to find a way to eat a chili dog. I think Hot Ones can work that out. I would like more characters. Okay, well, Donald is a duck. If a duck eats chicken, is that cannibalism? I mean, they're both birds. I don't know. I feel like that's not, maybe? I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if it is. All right. Trailers. Oh my God, I haven't talked about the big trailer, Cosmopolis, which is in the thumbnail. So the Cosmopolis, we'll just talk about, maybe this will, I don't know. I hope we don't run too long. The Cosmopolis trailer controversy. So you saw it this morning. You saw This Morning Matters, the story. Megalopolis. Cosmopolis is a Cronenberg thing. I kept doing that today. Megalopolis. I'm sorry. Megalopolis. Let's check out my review of Cosmopolis. All right, Megalopolis. Droopy. I'm agreeing with that. I would like Woody Woodpecker also. So Megalopolis trailer came out, and it was basically like all these negative reviews from critics, like legendary critics like Andrew Sarris, Pauline Kael, a lot of Andrew Sarris. Like he was going for fucking Andrew Sarris. Like I was like, man. I mean, I know Andrew Sarris's biggest accomplishment truly is that he could read French, and he's the one who's like, hey guys, these French people made up auteur theory. You want to hear about it? And he was a good writer, but like for real, like I do not understand how that guy gets credit for it. But they did really showcase him a lot. But then it was Ebert, Vincent Canby, Owen Gleiberman, a lot of major critics, and then you see Megalopolis, and everyone's like, "This is Megalopolis," all this stuff. And to me, it still looks interesting. I know Austin actually didn't like it, but he's still here. But then we found out that none of the critic reviews were actual quotes from the reviews they said they were. The Ebert quote was actually from Batman, not from Dracula, which is also interesting. It goes, Godfather, Apocalypse Now, Dracula? And I was like, what? That's what you consider your other masterpiece? That's interesting. Okay. But apparently none of the quotes were actually from the reviews people said they were, or at least the people did note that at least the reviews they could find online. I don't think anyone got out there. Oh man, I should have talked. Okay. There's a couple things I want to talk about. I'm sorry that this is going long. I should have. They found out that those were not actually they were misattributed. Basically, some of them were from other reviews, but most of them were just sort of like made up. Everyone went, "This is Chat GPT." We aren't sure, but Lionsgate said, "We're sorry about that. We messed up," and then is taking the trailer down. So, although this was, I noticed that Godfather 2 was left alone Cinerama as well. and The Conversation, which is pretty notoriously lauded Coppola movie. Um, it's just a weird way to start. I thought it was kind of okay, like much like the Lost Highway ad where they said 2 thumbs down from Siskel and Ebert. I thought it was kind of interesting. It was just weird that like you're going for like Vincent Canby in 2024. Okay. It was just and the I noticed like a lot the Saris things. I was like, man, somebody does not like Andrew Saris. This is very weird. But the trailer did cause a lot of talk. I guess I don't know. I think it was a bad move. It's very much a fumble on their part, and pretty much angered the very people you want to give good notices for your movie, which is like people who like. Yes, you should watch Dog Day Afternoon. Who like film criticism? You want those people to like your movie, and if you're not doing it, if they're not on your side, that's like you already started us all in a bad relationship. So like the bizarreness of this whole thing with Megalopolis has gotten even crazier. No notice in the trailer if the person that Adam Driver talks to, who's in the theater, is in the movie. I want that in the trailer. I want to know. They should say theater actor will be at all screenings. Nathaniel Foga says should have showed the negative reviews for Jack. A few people did say that, but cheers to you, Nathaniel Foga. Also, it's like I want to be like a couple of those like won Palme d'Ors at Cannes. Like I don't know, it would have been funny if he was like Jack, Godfather 3. Like all the movies of his people don't like. I was like, you didn't bring those up. Godfather 3 is not that bad, but it's not that good either. This was not a good day for a film. Oh, I didn't talk about, you know what? Oh, man. You know what's funny? I thought there's almost too much to talk about. Okay, we'll talk about, I guess we're not talking about box office. Since it is getting late, I'm just going to finish these trailers. We'll take a break, and then I'll do the best of things. I'm sorry, I'm surprised, actually. I had to cut things. I'm a little confused. All right, so the other trailers, Frankie Frico, which I was like, why do people want me to talk about that? And then I realized it's directed by the director of Psycho Gorman, which I am a big fan of. We'll talk about that in the best of whatever year that came out. It looks like a lot of fun. It's basically based on like this 1-900 number where there was like a little freaky weird guy and you'd call it. And I think it's a wild concept where it goes. It looks like a weird, fun cult movie. So I'm into that. We got the teaser, and I'll talk a little bit about this, but the Wildwood teaser for Leica. Leica had a great week this week with Coraline getting into the top. Sorry, Cineram. I had a whole section where we had a video where I interview him, and it's like a good 45 minutes, but I'm just going to throw it in the trash. It was really interesting. But yeah, Wildwood. Wildwood looks interesting. It's just basically like the woods look spooky and stuff. But I think Coraline opening at number 5. I mean, we're seeing these re-releases of animated films from 2009, both of this and Ponyo, and people are surprised at the reputation. There's this constant thing, and I want to bring this up because it's actually important. Everyone's talking about how film right now is sold more for my age group than for people younger than me. If you're in your 20s, they're basically not marketing as much to you. They're marketing more to me, which I disagree with, actually. I don't think they should be doing that. However, these are films that are mainly being brought up for like people watching them as a kid. They didn't get to see it in theaters because they weren't old enough and stuff, and they're bring up. Also, Coraline opened last year and did well, and did even better this year on re-release. So we're seeing actually more re-releases of younger people appealing to films, supposedly. So what's happening with Leica is really good for its future, actually. But I would suggest to you, if you really like Leica, as a guy who sat in a very empty theater seeing Missing Link, you need to go to the theater to see Wildwood, because if you want this to continue, because stop motion is not in the good place it was in the 2000s. It's in a very bad place cinematically. So but it's cool that Coraline did so well. I'm glad that there's hype for it, because I saw an exhibit with Leica stuff at the Museum of Moving Image, and I was like, I hope like it works out for them, because they are so creative and stuff. But it feels like it actually is, and based on re-releases, few people have said, where's Kubo and the Two Strings? Where's Paranorman? Not much love for the box trolls. Oh well. Anyway, we'll see. I think they should re-release Kubo and Paranorman at some point. I think they're missing out on doing that. I think I think that would work out. I think you have to build, because Coraline didn't suddenly get to number 5. It did less last year and increased and even did closer to what it opened with. So I think they need to start building that relationship. Interesting that Henry Selick's 2 movies get re-released regularly now. 2 of his movies, not his 2 only movies, but with Nightmare Before Christmas and Coraline, and regularly get re-released and regularly do well. I can't think of any other director, animation or live action, who is doing that on the regular that Henry Selick does. I don't think we appreciate Henry Selick as much as we really should, because you think of how people are, like, in all seriousness, like, that's amazing. Like, Spielberg doesn't have that, like, Lucas, like, none of those people. On a regular, like, every year, there's people who see Nightmare Before Christmas in theaters. There's people who see that's an amazing thing. Henry Selick should be proud. I'm singing his praises because he deserves it. Y2K, the trailer for Y2K came out. At first I shit on this because I was like, man, fucking millennials, and like I always have to hear about the nostalgia from the 90s. It's like obnoxious. Like, I get it. Like, I don't need to watch. I was there. I don't need to watch a movie about stupid, like, what it was like when it became 2000s. Like, the only way this would be cool, I literally said that, is like if this is a movie where Y2K actually happened. Well, guess what, idiot? That is really what it's about. So Y2K is directed by Kyle Mooney, who's on SNL, and used to be on YouTube, and apparently the Hank Green doesn't like him because of drama at one of those YouTube conventions. But anyway, true story. I'm not making that up. His new movie looks like a cool concept. I'm actually interested. I went from being like stupid millennials that I'm a part of, like, what the fuck is this? We're never gonna. We're just as bad as the boomers. And then I was like, I mean, it's a good concept. What if Y2K happened? I'm into it. We also got the trailer for Secret Level, where they make kind of short films using certain video games. It looked cool. I don't know any of the games or what they're doing, but it looked like a cool concept. I am down for that. 2 box office things that I wrote down. I'm not going to bring up box office mode to do the thing. I'll bring this up. Disney has held the number 1 movie for 4 weeks in a row with 2 R-rated movies, Deadpool and Wolverine and Alien Romulus. Before people will be like, oh, the Alien Queen is one of the Disney princesses, ha ha ha. I mean, I guess they did them both sort of under their other banners. I think but that's how Disney is now. They're a major company. Stop doing this. Like, can you imagine if the Xenomorphs on Splash Mountain or something? Like, just shut up, please. You don't know what Pac-Man is? Who's Pac-Man? Is that Mrs. Pac-Man's husband? Also, Longlegs is now the biggest indie horror film hit in a decade. I forget. I think it's outgrossed Insidious, or it's going to outgross Insidious, which was the last kind of small indie. It was made independently and then sold to it, and then they made the sequels and all that. So it's actually, that was the last big indie horror hit, and it is outgrossed it. So good for Longlegs. I would like to see it eventually. All right, so back lost karting. Do you think Lionsgate should put Borderlands back in theaters to bomb again? I didn't really get to talk about Borderlands. Supposedly Borderlands has been bombing tremendously. You know what? Since you gave a super chat, I'll look at the box office for Borderlands. First off, let me take 9 million Coraline. Damn. Cheers to you, Austin. Who did you play as? Tell us. I actually am curious. Yeah, it went down by 71%. I think the problem, what happened with Borderlands, is supposedly a lot of people were like, why didn't they just sell it off or something? But because of all the international rights, they had to do it. But this is a pretty epic bomb. Nobody seems to like it. It's actually 10 is Borderlands and 11 is Harold and the Purple Crayon. So very cursed 10 and 11 for the box office this past weekend. I think it's also like, if you're going to make a video game movie in 2024 in the future, you really have to get the video game people excited. And when you got the video game people like not excited, like there's not as many people are going to see it. It is still in 3,000 theaters, but most people believe it's going to lose all those this weekend for The Crow, I guess. Anyway, and also I think they thought the movie would do better, and I think the studio wanted it. The video game studio actually wanted it to help promote the new game. All right, so we're probably going to end at 12:45 is what I hope. I'm going to do. Here's how we're going to do this. I'm going to take a break. We're going to look at Ace the Wind Rider's Amazing Thing. I'm going to do best of this year so far first. Then I will do the other ones. Then there will the other years that I missed doing best of lists. I'll probably just be listing them off. When they become separate videos, I might have posters on the best of this year so far. The other one, we'll see. But anyway, just so you know, it'll probably be me listing off movies and saying, this was really cool, this was really cool. But I'll try to, the best of the year, I'll try to talk about a little more. Anyway, here is, I'm going to use the bathroom. We're going to, maybe I should, he made me another bumper, but I think this one, you know what, let's use the other bumper tape. It's just me eating popcorn. I know he did it for a while ago, but I'm going to use this one this time from Ace the Wind Rider. Check out his links in the description down below. I will be right back. After these messages, I will be right back, and then we'll talk about the best movies of this year so far and other movies and so forth. I'll be right back. Wait, did you mute? Okay, I think you muted. Oh, I think the mute button doesn't work. Just heard me breathing. Oh man, everyone heard that. Oh well. Oh well. I guess I am back. Let me just set up some things. What? Wait, am I still? Are we still good? Okay. All right. Oh, Al Vasquez is going, leaving. Thank you for being here. All right, let me get back in here. Wow, now it's giving me shit. This is a real interesting part of the stream. Maybe I'll hold on. I'll play the music to make it more interesting. All right, music. I am back. Sorry about heading to bed. Night, Jim, and chat. Good night, Awesome. Thank you for being here, and cheers to you. Thank you very much. Thank you for your super chats tonight. I appreciate it. All right, so in the next 20 minutes or so, let's try to finish this. All right, so if you want recommendations on movies, here we go. All right, so 2024 is not over, although the fall is about to hit, which usually dominates most best of the year film lists. So it's always good before that starts to go over the best movies I've actually seen this year, so you can get to watching those before it feels like you can't because you got to watch all these Oscar movies or something. So here are, and I am going to have a number one, but I will list off of the movies I've seen this year what I think are the best ones. For some context, I think you know what I haven't seen, but I know I haven't seen Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes and In a Violent Nature, which I have copies of but haven't watched yet. If there are other major movies that I haven't reviewed or haven't seen, please let me know, either in the comments of this or in the chat. And maybe I can see them or review them. One of them is actually on here, which I just need to shoot a review for, and I watched twice. And that would actually be Lisa Frankenstein. I actually quite like that movie. It's a cool new cult movie. I see more and more people talking about it, which it shows, it's interesting because it's a horror movie with pretty much everything creatively is, everyone involved creatively, is female, from Diablo Cody to Zelda Williams. I really quite like this movie. I think it's fun. I watched it with my wife, who's not a big horror movie person, and she really liked it. I've heard from both horror and non-horror people, which I think is we need more kind of transition films for horror in general, but I think it is definitely kind of becoming a new cult movie. Also, one film we're all forgetting about, the DreamWorks' Orion in the Dark, a Charlie Kaufman written DreamWorks movie. I've heard nothing about this since the movie weekend it came out. It's really good. I'm very surprised we don't hear more about it. It's a wonderful movie. I hope it doesn't get forgotten, but it feels like it probably is. I know this has become a meme on this stream, but I've got to mention Stop Motion, which is a horror movie where the stop motion animator, starts getting haunted by the animation she is making. It's a really cool, interesting concept for a horror movie. It combines animation and horror in a really interesting, organic way. I highly recommend it. Another one that I think is sort of getting forgotten. I'm a little half and half on Inside Out 2. I did like it. I'm not sure if I want to put it on here, but I'm just going to mention it, I guess. I was very impressed by Dune Part 2. I thought it was so much better than the first one. I thought it was very good, basically showing someone manipulating their way into taking over the universe, basically. And Timothée Chalamet was great, as well as Challengers, which was a very amazing kind of soapy tennis movie with a great score by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. And Data was wonderful in it. It's sexy, it's fun, it's gossipy, it's wonderful. Don't miss that one. Sorry, I'm just making sure I get everything here. I think it's obvious, and you all know I really liked Furiosa. It is not my number one so far of the year, which when I've told people I'm surprised by. But I really, really thought it was really wonderful. I need to rewatch it, and it was quite the experience. I saw it the best way I could, and it's just a really great prequel, and all the Ad Max things are great. Hundreds of Beavers, I think is really probably one of the most creative comedies I've seen in a while, and definitely this year. Kind of a silent film comedy made in the modern way. I really quite like the style of this with its slapstick humor. It's kind of got weird, kind of funny Western humor and silent film humor reinterpreted for a modern age, and probably the best way I've seen someone do a modern silent film thing. It is a really wonderful movie, and I highly suggest it. But I think one of the things about this part of the year that I really got to say is um, uh, trans filmmakers really had a major moment, particularly in, I guess, the early parts of the summer. And one of those films was The People's Joker, which I think was just. I think if you are someone who likes media and is very media literate and is bouncing around different kind of forms, it's a very weird kind of low budget, very like almost like a Channel Awesome movie in terms of its production value, but 100% works about someone reinterpreting a Vera Drake, Vera Drew. Anyway, the filmmaker reinterpreting the origin of the Joker to be about her coming out story. I thought was, or her transition story, I thought was amazing. It's probably the most interesting superhero movie of this year. It's the best superhero movie of this year, and it's the smartest one. But it's also an insanely interesting and goofy movie, and in a very smart way. I think it is not for the average film goer. It's for people who are smart and love or interested in media. And that's the other thing about these, both the trans films of this year. Both were very much like interpreting yourself through media and what that said about you and how much that had to do with your identity. And right now, I can say that I think what's the best movie of the year right now is I saw the TV Glow. I had an interesting relationship with this film in that the first time I watched it, I found all the references too obvious, and like I was like, I can guess that, and like I was sort of like not getting into it as much. And as it went on, I felt like I needed to rewatch it, and the second time I rewatched it, it meant so much more to me. I was able to identify like things I had seen. I'm not trans or anything, and I know it is an allegory and about that, but I also think like that tape trading culture of like being obsessed with a show that none of your friends are watching, that, or the kids at school that really aren't your friends, but are insular within your own mind. It captured that so amazingly well, of just kind of being trapped in your own little world while the rest of high school and society is going on, and none of them really understand what's going on within you, as like a very like kind of like isolated kid that way. I've not really related to a movie that much, and it I think sometimes when I pick a best movie, and you're going to hear this with the next part too, when I pick a best movie of the year, it's a lot of times the film that affected me the most, and I 100% think I saw the TV Glow as the film that affected me the most. It's like the film I think about the most. I think it is the most daring. I thought it was the most interesting. It's a horror movie, but it's not a horror movie. It's about Buffy, but it's not. It's about Pete and Pete, but it's not. It's like so many things. Fred Durst is in it for some reason. Playing shitty Fred Durst. It's quite the experience. It's quite amazing, and I was very taken aback by it, and it really surprised me. And it's not often I see a movie a second time because I didn't feel like I fully grasped onto it. And this film, it really deserved it. I need to watch it again, and I really haven't stopped thinking about it. And also, the soundtrack is great. And I think it is definitely one of the best movies of the 2020s, but also for me right now, the best movie of the year. Also, I think people were bringing up other movies I hadn't seen. I haven't seen Robot Dreams, so I want to say that right there. I forget, someone else said something. Now I'm like not seeing it. What was it? Alien Romulus. I have not seen Alien Romulus yet, but I plan on. But yeah, those are what I find the best movies of 2024. I hopefully will catch up on other ones, Longlegs, Maxine, stuff like that. I hope soon. Sorry, it's hard to see stuff. But I haven't seen Boy Kills World. Thank you, Nathaniel. Anyway, try to put these in the comments later. But those were what I consider the best movies I've seen, at least so far, in 2024. Honorable mentions, since they're shows, although list shows in the next thing, X-Men 97, Smiling Friends Season 2, and My Adventures with Superman Season 2. Alright, so I want to, this next part, so obviously I was kind of surprised by the reaction to when I mentioned maybe, there wouldn't be as much news. Haha, that was stupid, Jim. But of people were kind of disappointed that I hadn't made best of lists for a while, and a lot of that has to do with COVID, and films that were considered films of the year would get delayed so much. By the time I made a best of year list, it would be like super late, so that was hard. I had a second kid, so it was like hard to get to the theater and stuff. I actually think I feel like I could make a best of the year list this year, and I would like to very much. I feel right now I feel that way. We'll see how I feel in December. I feel like if I could get it in February, I think it would be cool. But no, Carol Against the World was December actually. But so I did actually write down, because every year I'd be like, I'll do it this year. I'll do a best of you, and I kept not doing it. So I want you to know, as I list these off, this was not just like, here's my notes, I don't give a shit. This was not like just a filler thing for me. I found all my notes. I went through that. I went through the playlist of everything I reviewed that year. I went through best of lists. I went through all the Oscar nominees. I went through top 10 lists of critics I liked. I tried to really make sure I had the scope of what I liked that year and make sure it was accurate, and especially how I view it now. And there are some films I didn't get to review that are on here. There's some films, like that. Or some films I saw much later that were on here as well. So I'm going to talk about them. We're going to go year by year, and 2021 is the first one. And it also has a worst stuff list on this one. The other ones I didn't do that, but this one I wrote that down, so I'm going to tell you that as well. But the best movies of 2021 that I wrote down, I'm going to give an honorable mention to Nightmare Alley. I think, it reminds me a lot of, and the co-writer with Del Toro mentioned Heroes for Sale, which is a William Wellman film which I really like. So I'm going to at least give an honorable mention. I do think about that movie a lot. It wasn't one of my favorites, but it kind of has stayed with me, so I just want to put it here. And actually, if I had filmed the staircase I filmed sometimes, which is going to be a Beetlejuice one coming out soon, they did one for Nightmare Alley, and I wish I had filmed that, although I don't think that would have been as popular. But anyway, so first up in 2024, and I'll end with what I think was the best one. These are sort of just movies, whatever. Flea, which was nominated for Best Animated Feature, Best International Feature, Best Documentary. This kind of got forgotten. It was a really interesting animated film, and I recommend that. I thought that was very good. Power of the Dog, really kind of interesting way to take a Western with Benedict Cumberbatch, and it's been a little bit, so I don't really remember. I just remember I really, like, when I was going through stuff, I was like, I gotta put that one on there, because I felt very affected by it, and like what it says about masculinity and everything like that. And I think the director deserved her Best Director win there. What's her name? Jane Campion, sorry. There's a lot of movies on there, so excuse me about that. And I should have reviewed that. I didn't review that. But you can know that I really like Power of the Dog. I think it was kind of gets underrated, but it's sort of like one of those sort of revisionist kind of Westerns in a kind of way. I thought it was interesting how it did, and I thought Benedict Cumberbatch gave one of his better performances. This I did not see in the year, but I've seen since, is Malignant. I think Malignant is one of the craziest, wildest horror movies. It is truly insane, bonkers. James Wan having fun. As much as he had fun in the Aquaman movies, he's really having fun here. I hope he gets to make more movies like that. Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar is one of the more fun comedies. I haven't rewatched that in a while. I need to rewatch that. It was so much fun. I really enjoyed this movie. Really wonderful, wacky, silly kind of thing. I had Infinity Train Book 4. Why not? It was great with the two friends. Don't remember it much at this time, but it was really cool. Mitchell's vs. the Machines. I think this is probably would have been my number 2. Just, again, like a wild, kind of crazy animated film. So much going on with it, but wonderful about the family and stuff. Sorry, a lot of this is just a list, so maybe I shouldn't go on some of them. It's been a while. I actually had Luca on here, which is probably the only Pixar I feel certain should be on any of these lists. Luca's just a wonderful little coming of age film. The Amusement Park, which is the George Romero newly found restored George Romero movie. I quite liked it, about aging and ageism. It's very good. Shiva Baby, which is another film I watched a few times, not because I didn't like it, but I like the idea of sort of being stuck, the idea of like being stuck in a family gathering, and you're just like the intensity of that while also being a comedy. I thought that was a really cool movie. I really like Shiva Baby a lot. And then I think we don't talk enough about Soderbergh's 2020's output, because No Sudden Move was really wonderful. Another one of his is in here as well, in a later list, but No Sudden Move, I think about these guys trying to steal a secret in the 50s about, I guess it's like about a car transmission or something, I forget. But a really great, tight Soderbergh thriller, really wonderful. I wish more people saw that one. I forget who else in it. I think, anyway, wonderful thriller. Brendan Fraser's in it. And my number one of 2021 would be Psycho Gorman. I think Psycho Gorman was amazing. It's funny, it's weird. It's like if the worst kid imaginable had access to the most evil monster imaginable. That one I need to rewatch as well. And my worst, I am going to be going long tonight. My worst stuff for 2021, I had Cruella, Dear Evan Hansen, and Space Jam: A New Legacy. I don't think I need to say more about those, but I put under disappointing Last Night in Soho, because I was really disappointed. That was fucking bad, dude. All right. I'm going to take a drink of this just to keep me awake. Is this super boring? Should I keep doing this? I don't know. I hope you enjoy it. All right. 2022. Let's get into this. All right. 2022, here's what I had. The Banshees of Inisherin. I quite like what this is about friendship. I'm sorry, Nathaniel Foga. I didn't mean to do that. Apologies. Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. Wonderful little animated film. I like Encanto, but I didn't put it on my top one. Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, just a nice, gentle kind of movie. I actually put Avatar: The Way of Water. I thought it was much better than the first one. Quite the experience. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. I think that probably would have been 2 or 3 if this had been ranked in some way. Kimmy, which is another Soderbergh film, which was really, really good. Kind of a cool, like almost Home Alone type conspiracy thing. That's another one that's underrated. I had Prey, which the kind of Predator prequel. I had Primal Season 2, which, I love Primal, but I think the visuals and the cinematic way that show is made is just amazing. I actually had the Adult Swim Yule Log, because that is just quite the experience. I think best Yule Log movie ever, right? I mean, but turning the Yule Log into a horror movie, that was such a cool way. To do that, I had Nope, which I think is one of my more interesting films about filmmaking. RRR was sort of the runner-up. I think that was just such an amazing kind of event of a movie in that year. And then I had what's going on with that? Okay, sorry. The streaming thing is being a little weird for me. And then I had number one would be, and I know this is maybe basic or whatever, Everything Everywhere All at Once was my number one. I didn't see Puss in Boots, actually. That's one of the ones I didn't see. But we'll see. All right. This will be it. I'm sorry if this is just me listing out. This is sort of like what this is. And then, and then we'll just do questions. I'm sorry this is going. I hope you guys seem to be into this. All right. 2023. This is the last one. Why do people keep saying Tiny Toons? I'm lost on that. Oh yeah, use the Tiny Toons. You're right. They should have done that. Should have done my idea. Oh, you didn't love Primal Season? I mean, I hope The Running Man works out. We'll see, Ransom Film. All right, here are the best movies of 2023. Maybe I could have made this one, but we'll okay, we'll see. So I put Barbie at the end. I don't know. I do like Barbie. I'm not the biggest Barbie Oppenheimer person or whatever, but I just put it on there because I have watched it a few times. I do laugh at it. I do enjoy it. So whatever. List things as well, guys. I think maybe if when this is a separate thing, I might have posters or something. We'll see. The Iron Claw, I have shot a review of it. I need to edit it at some point, but I did quite. It's such a strong, amazing biopic about family and stuff like that. Creed 3, I know this film got kind of forgotten because of the Jonathan Majors stuff, but I think it's one of the better Rocky movies, and I think it is, maybe not as good as the first Creed, but I think it's a damn good blockbuster movie. Especially like how many blockbusters that are essentially dramas are out there, and the anime influence is definitely there. Just, I don't know. I think that got kind of underrated, even though it was a hit. Scavenger's Reign, I can't not say Scavenger's Reign. It would have been in the top 5 of that year had this been more ranked. I just sort of list them off. Killers of the Flower Moon, Martin Scorsese's movie, I quite liked. Past Lives, another one that I was pretty ride or die about that year at least. The Boy and the Heron, Hayao Miyazaki's film. All of Us Strangers, which I think that kind of got forgotten about, unfortunately, but it was kind of an interesting ghost story, kind of a ghost story in a different way, about a man who kind of goes back to his home and sees his dead parents and starts interacting with them. It's been a little bit. I didn't put The Holdovers, but let's just say, The Holdovers is right, sort of in there. There was a lot of good movies last year. Zone of Interest, I've also shot a review that I need to edit. Just amazing, interesting kind of art idea of a movie. How to blow up a pipeline. This is, I think, probably one of the more politically radical movies I've seen a little bit. I would put that as a, I don't know, kind of one of the more underrated movies of the year. Just a really tight thriller. One of the better thrillers I've seen in a while. Like, very tight, very tense, but also very politically explosive in a lot of ways. Like, in pun, I guess. Godzilla Minus One, I would say it would have been in my top 5 had I done that. There's nothing more to say. It's just such an amazing Godzilla movie. We've been very lucky with the Japanese Godzilla movies. This and the other one. Sorry. The last Shin Godzilla. Sorry. And then what would have been my number 2 would have been Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Just, maybe it's not Into the Spider-Verse, but it's, especially watch it the second time, this really like grows on you, all the genius that's going on with it. It can be funny, it can be weird, all that stuff. And then my number 1, and I think I've said this before, but is from 2023 would have been Skinamarink, a film that really stayed with me. Messed with my mind a bit, made me think of the weird haunting nightmares I'd have as a kid, and just really stuck with me. And in a similar way that I Saw the TV Glow did, it just is a film that I couldn't really shake and think of, and I just thought it was such a strong, amazing artistic statement. I'm surprised it didn't get even more acclaim than it did, because it's such an amazing movie. I didn't put but yeah, so those are the movies I listed as the best of the years I didn't make lists for. So that's kind of what I would do. If when it's 10 years I'll make a real list and stuff like that, I'll try to get into that. But we'll see. But yeah, those are what I feel were the best movies of those years, and there we go. I didn't list Judas the Black Messiah for 2021, even though I put it on my 2021 list, because I ended up putting it in my 2020 list. So, we'll see. Oh no, Redsmack's talking about me on our channel again? That's crazy. Alright, let's get into the questions, and I'm sorry, this has gone really late. I apologize. I shouldn't have started so late. If anyone wants any super chats, we're at the end now. Alright, let's do okay. These are the Patreon questions. Let me write questions below. Alright, here are the Patreon questions. Jordan Bouchard, did you list any favorite movies on your MySpace? If not, what would have been some of your favorites from back around those times? Probably would have put Eternal Sunshine, Mind Game, Third Man. Those are probably some of those. Mind Game's still one of my, I think, in my top list of movies, to be honest with you. Sinram asks, where do you come out including critics' quotes and movie trailers, in particular the Megalopolis preview that was posted? I recall an ad on David Lynch's Last Highway, which blatantly offered Siskel and Ebert 2 thumbs down as 2 more great reasons to see Lost Highway. I know it means a lot to critics, and I'm sure if it happened to me, it would mean a lot to me too. But I I think I think it means something to some people, but I don't think it. I think if you have a good enough quote, it can help, and I've seen people see movies because of a good quote. But I don't know if it means as much. But I think it means more to certain movies. But I don't know if it's as essential as like actually reading a review and experiencing it. Okay. Nathaniel Foga asks, "What's the best thing you think Seth MacFarlane has done?" That is a good question, actually. I'd probably say his best or biggest thing would be Family Guy, and I'd say the early seasons of Family Guy would be the best thing he's ever done. Austin, it always has to be the last question. He says, "Hey Jim, what a great show. Sorry for being late with this again. Busy week again. My question is, favorite movie with Faye Dunaway?" Oh, easy, Bonnie and Clyde. Bonnie and Clyde, all the way. I know people say Network. I love Bonnie and Clyde. I'm staying with Bonnie and Clyde. All right, Cornbread. Wow, we are late. Okay. Asks, with the Skeleton Troop coming up, should I, for a limited time, bring back the Katana Wolfman question? Is that what this stream needs? It is. I agree with that. Please do it. Not plausible. What's with the wave of product-themed movies? The video game is the least interesting part of John Madden's life. That's probably true. But I think it is also, in terms of modern audiences, the thing they most recognize him with. But yes, the product theme movies with like Air and people acting like those are stupid, and or with Air and people really grabbing onto that, I think we'll probably see more of them. I find it weird when people go, "It has all this meaning," and I'm like, I don't know, guys. I would like one that's more cynical, to be honest with you. Ratboy Mickey says, "Are you excited for?" Hold on. Are you excited for the Evil Dead animated series when we will reunite with Ash Ketchum? I am. I don't know what's happening with it, and we haven't heard a studio, so I'm a little. Wait, is his name Ash Ketchum? That doesn't. Anyway, I hope it happens, but when we get a real studio announcement, I think. Nathaniel Foga, favorite moment. It was meeting you, sir. No, it was. That was cool too, but it was actually just meeting all of the pizza party in person and hugging everybody. I would say that would be it. Question: you said early on the stream, Blake Lively being a mixologist but not drinking makes her a fraud. I must ask you, what about Ludwig von Beethoven, Jim? Didn't think of that, huh? What? Oh, because he couldn't hear, but he could feel the vibration. So that's still like you can't touch, as regular shows say, you can't touch music, but music can touch you. Not plausible. Do you think presidential candidates should have to appear on Hot Ones? Yeah, I'm okay with that. Not Trump though. Just Kamala. Kamala can go on Hot Ones. Sarah, obviously I wrote that question before reading the fake quotes. Yeah, I know, it's okay. It's just funny. It's just funny. Okay. I'll limit myself to 2 questions so I don't overwhelm you, so we can get out of here and you can lay down. Thank you, Cornbread. I appreciate that. Question: favorite product used to market a movie? Burger King with King Ralph, forever. The Wessonator. Question: how do I beat the Pokemon Battle Frontier? I've been trying for weeks, just lost another huge streak. I have no clue what any of that means. I have wrong stream, maybe. I don't know. Nathaniel Fogel, what do you consider the worst Christmas movie? It's a good question. I actually don't think I have one. Maybe. Yeah, anyone that I'm like, I don't like that one that much, but I don't know. Worst? Huh. I don't know. Worst Christmas movie. Maybe that one Sinram read, that animated one, which I actually saw on USA, so I can say, I don't remember it, but I know I saw it, so I'll say that one. Whatever that one that with the tree and the orphans or whatever. When I was a kid, I thought it was good because I'm stupid. Cornbread, I always pick, this is a light news week to go overtime. Yeah, that kind of happened. Oh my god, Resmac is talking about me on her channel? That's crazy. I'll have to never check that out. Nathaniel Fogel, what's a film that flopped that you wish could get a re-release? I mean, probably Willow. or a speed racer. I did take a picture with it. I clapped you? How did I clap you? I forget. Ash from Program, not Ash from Evil Dead. Wait, what? I'm confused. Worst YouTube review, The Critical Drinker or Mr. Enter? I've seen less Mr. Enter, so I'm gonna say Critical Drinker. You actually watched the Christmas? Yeah, I did. No, I actually did. I 100% did. I didn't even know he was working on it, and then I was like, "Holy shit, dude! I actually watched this on USA." Because we just watch like so many Christmas movies. It was like, or Christmas specials, really. Anyway, all right. I think that is it. We have gone way over. Where are we at even on this thing? Jesus. All right. Apologies for how late we're doing it. Mr. Enter's editors were like really trying to get me to write for him. I never knew if that was a real offer, but they asked me a lot of times, and a few people told me it was a real offer, but I never took him up on it because I don't like him. Anyway, all right. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for watching the stream. I want to thank everyone who gave a super chat, who is... Let's go through the list here. Sinram, Austin, Nathaniel Fogo, William Elman, Ransam Film coming back there. Austin, Nathaniel Fogo. Thank you very much for the super chats during the show. Thank you for the support. Thank you, Rat Boy Mickey. I hope you all guys have a good night. Thank you for being here. I think if there is a stream next week, it'll be not on a Wednesday. I'm thinking Thursday, but we'll see. I have to figure that out. But yeah, I'm not sure if there'll be a video tomorrow. If it is, it'll be a short, but I'm not, I don't know. And we'll see about the timestamps on this. So apologies. I do think the best movies of the year will probably be the video this weekend, just because I have kid birthday stuff and all that. So we'll see. But I hope you enjoy whatever's coming out next. I have a short about the Unsolved Mystery Show, because I am a fan of that. But I am kind of tired. I need to make my lunch for tomorrow and all that. But you guys have a good night. Enjoy any of the videos or throwbacks or whatever. Thank you for being here. Thank you all for the support. And I will see you all next time. And subscribe, if you want to or whatever. All right, peace. Good night.